Adding and subtracting rational expressions with unlike denominators. As we've already discussed, as soon as you're asked to add or subtract two rationals, you want to look at the denominator, see if they're same, see if they're different. If they're the same, pretty straightforward as to combining or completing the operation. However, if the denominators are different, we're going to have to find what's called like denominators, or the least common denominator. A review problem before we jump into an irrational. Example 1, 3/8 plus 11/6. Adding two rationals, obviously, two fractions, obviously the denominators are not the same, so we need to find the least common denominator, the smallest number that both denominators would divide into evenly. So the smallest number that both 8 and 6 would divide into evenly, 24. So we want to rewrite each fraction so that it has a common denominator, 24. The first one, 3/8, the denominator was 8. In order to make it 24, we need to multiply it by 3. Which means we have to multiply the numerator by 3, giving us 9 over 24. Now we did not change the value of this fraction, we just changed the appearance of it. 9 over 24 still reduces to 3/8. The next fraction, 11/6. In order to make that denominator 6, a denominator of 24, we multiply it by 4, which means we have to multiply the numerator by 4, giving us 44 over 24. Now it's just like a problem that we already discussed. Denominators are the same, so we combine the numerators. And then, of course, see if you can simplify or reduce that fraction. Adding or subtracting rationals, a little bit more involved in order to come up with the least common denominator. In order to find the least common denominator, we need to begin by factoring all the denominators. And the LCD then will be all the different or distinct factors from each denominator. So example 2, adding two rationals. Denominators are obviously different, but in this case they're already both factored. The first denominator simply has one factor, x plus 5, so does the second denominator, which is a different factor. So our LCD is going to be x plus 5, x minus 8. So we want to rewrite each one of these rationals so it has this common denominator, x plus 5, x minus 8. Well, the first rational already had the factor x plus 5, so to come up with a common denominator, we multiply the denominator by this x minus 8, which means we have to multiply the numerator by x minus 8. The second rational already had the factor x minus 8. In order to turn it into the least common denominator, we multiplied it by the factor x plus 5, which means we have to multiply the numerator by x plus 5. So once again, at this point, it's simply a problem that we've already discussed. Now we have common denominators. We want to combine the numerators, but in order to do that, we can simplify a little bit. The first one, distribute that 7. The second numerator, distribute that 2. And now combine the numerators, 7x and 2x, 9x, negative 56 and a positive 10, negative 46, all over that same common denominator. We've done the addition at this point. We just want to check to see if we can simplify this final answer. The good point is the denominator is already factored. We just need to see if we can factor the numerator, which of course in this case we cannot, which means it's already simplified. Example 3, subtracting two rationals. Denominators are different, so to find the LCD, begin by factoring the denominators. The first denominator factors into x plus 3 times x minus 2. The second denominator factors into x minus 7 times x plus 3. So the LCD will be all the different or distinct factors from each denominator. So basically you automatically include the first denominator in the LCD. It's two factors, x plus 3, x minus 2. Jump over to the second denominator, it has two more factors. The first factor, x minus 7, well, that's a different factor. We don't have it in our LCD, so we have to include it. However, the x plus 3 here, we already have an x plus 3, so we do not need to include it in our LCD again. So the LCD, x plus 3 times x minus 2 times x minus 7. We want to rewrite each one of these two rationals so it has this common denominator. So the first one, in order to rewrite this denominator so it's a common denominator, we multiplied it by the factor x minus 7, which means we have to multiply the numerator by the factor x minus 7. The second one already had the factors x plus 3 and x minus 7, so we multiplied the denominator by the factor x minus 2, which means we have to multiply the numerator by the factor x minus 2. So now it's just a matter of simplifying and combining the numerators. That same common denominator is going to carry through. Simplify the first numerator, distribute that 2, gives us 2x minus 14. The second one, distribute the 4, 4x minus 8. So when we combine like terms, 2x minus 4x gives us negative 2x. Negative 14 minus a negative 8 becomes negative 14 plus 8, or negative 6. We've done the subtraction, combine these two rationals into one. Now we just need to see if we can simplify. Once again, the good news, the denominator is already factored. We just need to factor the numerator, which means in this case, factoring out a negative 2. And when we do that, we see the x plus 3's cancel out, so our final simplified answer, negative 2 over x minus 2 times x minus 7. Example 4. Subtracting two rationals. Look at the denominators, they're different. So begin by factoring. The first one factors into x plus 6 times x minus 4. The second denominator factors into x plus 6 times x plus 10. So the LCD, the x plus 6, the x minus 4 from the first denominator. The second denominator, we already have that factor x plus 6, but we do not have an x plus 10, so we need to include it in the LCD. So rewrite each rational so it has as common denominator x plus 6, x minus 4, x plus 10. So the first numerator, watch it, or be careful, notice it has two terms up there, x plus 5. That entire numerator is going to be multiplied by the factor x plus 10. The second one, that numerator 4, is going to be multiplied by the factor x minus 4. So now we can combine the two rationals into one. Just have to be a little bit cautious when we simplify that first numerator. It's a binomial times a binomial, which means we're going to have to FOIL it. It's going to FOIL into x squared plus 15x plus 50. Second one, distribute that 4x minus 16. And combine like terms. X squared does not have a like term. 15x minus 4x leaves us 11x. And 50 minus a negative 16 becomes 50 plus 16, or 66. Take a quick check to see if you can simplify. We cannot factor the numerator any further, which means this problem completely simplified at this point. Example 5. Subtracting two rationals, different denominators, so begin by factoring. That first denominator factors into x plus 8 times x plus 12. The second denominator factors into x plus 8, x minus 2. So the LCD, the x plus 8, the x plus 12 from the first denominator, and also the x minus 2, the only factor from the second denominator that we have not used yet. So rewrite each rational so it has this LCD. The first numerator, x minus 4, is going to be multiplied by the factor x minus 2. Same factor we multiplied the denominator by. The second denominator, or excuse me, the second numerator, 14, is going to be multiplied by the factor x plus 12. What we multiplied this denominator by in order to come up with the LCD. Combine these two rationals, x plus 8, x plus 12, the common denominator just carries through. Simplify the numerators. The first one, FOILs into x squared minus 6x plus 8. The second one, distribute that 14x plus 168. Combine like terms. X squared does not have a like term, we'll carry it down. Negative 6x minus 14x combines to give us negative 20x. And 8 minus positive 168 leaves us a negative 160. And once again, the numerator cannot be factored, so we're done at this point. And one more example, number 6. Adding two rationals with different denominators, begin by factoring. That first numerator factors into x plus 6, x minus 2. The second denominator, difference of squares, x plus 6, x minus 6. So the LCD in this case, x plus 6, x minus 2 from the first denominator, and then include that x minus 6 from the second denominator. So that first rational had a numerator of 2. In order to come up with a common denominator, we multiply the denominator by x minus 6, so we multiply the numerator by x minus 6. The second numerator already had the x plus 3 up there. In order to change that denominator into the least common denominator, we multiplied it by x minus 2, so we multiply the numerator by x minus 2. Now we can simplify, combine these two rationals into one. The first one, distribute that 2x minus 12. The second one foils into x squared plus x minus 6. Combine like terms. X squared does not have a like term. 2x plus x gives us 3x. Negative 12 minus 6, negative 18. So we've done the addition, combine these two rationals into one. In this case, we can simplify. That numerator factors into x plus 6 times x minus 3. Still over that same common denominator. So obviously the x plus 6's cancel out, leaving us a final simplified answer, x minus 3 over x minus 2 times x minus 6.